Bro, it's been since 2018 since Testing dropped by ASAP Rocky, bruh. Like, this is insane. You know, this album, Don't Be Dumb, was supposed to drop years ago, like 2 years ago. And we finally get it, bro, in the big 2026, aka 2016. Well, that's what they're saying in the streets now, that we're in 2016, bro. Shit's crazy. But Don't Be Dumb, man. Don't Be Dumb by ASAP Rocky. And man, I'm really feeling this project, bro. You know, was it worth the wait? I don't want to say it wasn't, because at the end of the day, bro, making music is hard. You know, now that I make music, it's really hard. Dropping something that feels perfect to you, like, really takes time, and I get that. But we probably shouldn't have waited this long. I'll say that. And, you know, looking at the track list, it's not a super long project. It's about an hour long, split into two sides, with the second disc only having 2 tracks. And that's kind of interesting because it gives you a lot of space to really focus on the individual tracks. You know, for me, the standout tracks have to start with, like, Stop Snitching. You know, at first I thought the second guy on it was Ferg, ASAP Ferg, but nah, bro, it's this dude Sauce Walker. And, you know, I'm not really a fan of him, but I'm not gonna lie to you, he went dumb. I'm not gonna lie. And, you know, then there's Air Force, which hits hard. You know, especially that breakdown on the second part with the interlude. You know, Rocky's melodies has always been A1. And Robbery, Whiskey, you know, those tracks really show, like, that experimental side of Rocky that he's really been trying to tap into since, like, I don't know, 2016, 2017, you know, since, like, the Cozy Tapes era. You know, one thing I noticed immediately is that this isn't the traditional Rocky sound. It's way different from Testing, and even his other projects too. Like, it has similar elements, but, you know, that's what makes it so interesting. You know, he's always been an artist who moves in his own lane. He's not really chasing mainstream trends, and this album really shows that. You know, the experimentation on here is clear. You know, he's messing with melodies, flows, and vibes that we really haven't seen from him before. And, you know, it really feels like Rocky's project is also fresh, bro. It feels like a fresh project. And, you know, I gotta say, bro, someone who's been supporting Rocky since, like, 2013, it's wild to still see him kind of, like, reinvent himself. And that's one thing that I always respect about him. You know, he's not just putting on music to stay relevant, you know, because if that was the case, he would have been put something out. He's generally, like, exploring sounds, pushing boundaries, and he's making something that feels personal. You know, even tracks that I really wasn't, like, expecting it to hit, they're probably gonna grow on you. And that's a good sign for an artist who's been really around as long as he's been. So yeah, Don't Be Dumb. You know, I'm still listening to it, I'm still soaking it in, but these are my first initial thoughts. Overall, it's an album that feels like Rocky's really doing his own thing, you know, experimenting and still keeping his signature style alive. But I really want to know what you guys think, bro. Like, what are your favorite tracks? What are your vibes? And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.